10 most expensive places to travel in 2024. For the most part, the cost of a trip is what you make of it. In nearly any destination, you can choose to stay in hostels, picnic and self-entertain to keep costs low. Or you can splurge on private villas, spas, private drivers and first-class tickets while spending tens of thousands. But in a handful of places, you can expect costs to surge no matter how you travel. In these expensive places to travel, you'll need to get more strategic when booking if you want to save money. 1. Antarctica. Antarctic tourism is right on the verge of accessibility. There are more options to step foot on the continent than ever before, but you'll pay dearly for the privilege. The average cruise costs $1,000 per person, per day for an entry-level stateroom, but paying double or triple that is not uncommon. And if you're flying in, you can expect to pay even more. A 5-hour trip from Punta Arenas, Chile to King George Island, off the coast of the Antarctic Peninsula, with the chance to see penguins and icy landscapes costs $6,600. 2. Botswana. All African safaris are expensive, but Botswana tops this list with a plethora of luxury camps and specialty experiences that cost a pretty penny. A week-long circuit visiting several of the most popular parks and reserves typically costs about $8,000 per person, and you can certainly pay more for a top-of-the-line trip. On top of that, simply arriving in Botswana is a major budget item. There's nothing cheap about flying to Mon or Gaborone, two popular starting points for Botswana tours. 3. Dubai. Glittery Dubai in the United Arab Emirates doesn't have to be expensive, but for most travelers it ends up that way. Assuming you want to stay in the center of town, hit the stereotypical attractions and eat at over-the-top locales, you'll need to pack your favorite credit card, or two. Indulge in white truffled pizza for $789, caviar dumplings at $42 a piece, or add edible gold leaf to a humble biryani for $272. And that's all before you go shopping, where brands like Bulgari, Cartier and Tiffany & Company are favorites. 4. French Polynesia. Tahiti, Bora Bora, Moorea and the other French Polynesian islands are legendary for their ultra-high prices, made worse by travelers' desires to book the quintessential luxury experience when going there. You can expect to pay at least $800 per night for an overwater bungalow in Bora Bora, and sadly that's not all inclusive. Island hopping adds to your bottom line. Flying is the most common way to get around, especially if you're heading to the outer isles. 5. Japan. American travelers to Japan currently have the advantage when it comes to exchange rates, with the yen at a 5-year low. Though you'd expect that to take the sting out of things, increased demand and tourism are keeping costs high. In fact, the cost of a 14-day rail pass in Japan increased by more than 50% as of October 2023, and the average daily rate for high-end hotels in Tokyo is up 33% compared to pre-pandemic, far outpacing rate increases in other travel hotspots like New York City. 6. Maldives. The Maldives have a reputation for attracting anyone looking for a holiday focused on romance or relaxation, but it comes at a cost. International airfare is a sizable expense, but the cost of transport, often a float plane, to your resort also runs in the hundreds of dollars, without a budget alternative. Being trapped on your resort's private island also means you're held captive when it comes to restaurant and tour prices. Luckily, there's one ray of sunshine. You'll be in one of the most beautiful places on Earth. 7. Maui. In general, Hawaii can be an expensive vacation, but Maui takes the cake, with average hotel rates of $691 per night in July 2023, before taxes, resort fees, parking or other extras. It doesn't help that travelers also want to do it all, and do it all right now. Adding in the cost of tours or activities jacks up the total price. A half-day snorkel trip, for example, starts at around $150. Multiply that by 7 days and a family of 4 and we understand why you're crying. If a trip to Maui fits in your budget, you don't have to worry about island closures after this summer's devastating wildfires. West Maui, except for the city of Lahaina, is open for business and the island welcomes and encourages respectful travel. 8. Monaco. Unless your luck at the casino is extraordinary, plan on saving up in advance to afford a trip to Monaco. After all, it has the world's highest density of wealthy residents, with 1 out of every 39 people holding a net worth of $30 million or higher. Given the high cost of real estate in the tiny country, you may be surprised to find that hotel rooms are somewhat reasonable. It's the Michelin-star restaurants, elegant spas and haute couture shopping that will cost you. 9. Street, Barts. Saint Barts is popular among the wealthy, and the wannabe wealthy, if you're willing to sacrifice your everyday spending to save for a glamorous trip. The flight from Miami alone will set you back more than $1,000 most weekends, and you should expect to budget another $900 per night, on average, for a hotel room. And while a day at the beach could be entirely free, meals most often are not. While you can find food on a budget, if you're after the glam experience, you should budget accordingly. Sadly, a bottle of water can top $10. 10. Switzerland. Nothing about Switzerland is cheap, but at least it's easy enough to budget for lodging and transport in advance. In Europe, prices with all taxes and fees are clearly displayed when confirming your reservation. Meals, though, sneak up on you. A Burger King Whopper value meal at the Zurich train station rings up at nearly 18 Swiss francs. That's $19.50. And sit-down restaurants are eye-wateringly expensive. Budget about 35 francs for a main dish before tacking on the cost of appetizers, drinks or dessert.